Welcome to Infidelity Truths. Before we dive into today's gripping story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more thrilling stories just for you. Let's begin.
I never imagined betrayal would arrive alongside flowers. It was a Thursday afternoon when everything changed. I had plans to meet a client at a downtown restaurant. One of those trendy fusion places that always smelled like basil and polished wood. I arrived early, as I usually do, and stood by the hostess stand, scanning the tables out of habit. That's when I saw her, Claire. Her hair was curled just right, and she was wearing a white dress. The one I hadn't seen in months. The one that clung to her hips a little too perfectly for a business meeting. She was seated at a small corner table, laughing with a man across from her. He was tall, tan, sporting the typical Wall Street haircut, and in the center of the table was a bouquet of red tulips. Tulips, her favorite, not mine, definitely not for me. Something inside me snapped. I didn't pause to think, didn't even blink. I simply walked straight toward their table, like I was being pulled by something primal. She didn't notice me at first, not until I stood right at the edge of their little bubble. Her eyes widened, her smile froze mid-laugh. The man looked up confused. "David," she stammered, her face draining of color. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I looked at her, then at the flowers and back again before calmly stating, "It's over." Just 3 words. Cold, final. I turned and walked out, leaving her and that stranger gaping at me. The candle between them flickered, as if it still believed in love. I climbed into my car, slammed the door, and sat there shaking. My heart raced like it was trying to escape my chest. I stared at the restaurant's glass walls, wondering if she'd come running after me. She didn't. She stayed inside, probably explaining how I was just overreacting, or how things had been complicated for a while. I drove home in a daze, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. What lingered in my mind wasn't the pain. It was her face. The way her expression shifted from shock to calculation. That's what stayed with me. Not guilt, not sorrow, strategy. She wasn't sorry for getting caught. She was just figuring out how much I knew. When I got home, the house was dark. I didn't turn on the lights. I poured myself a drink, straight bourbon, no ice, and sank into the living room. The soft glow from the kitchen barely reached me. My hands trembled as I gripped the glass. The silence around me felt suffocating. This was supposed to be our home, a place full of comfort, trust, history. Now it felt like a crime scene. Every photo on the wall was a lie, every memory shattered. How many nights had she told me she was working late? How many times had I sat on that very couch, while she was in someone else's arms? She came home 3 hours later. The door creaked softly as she entered, trying not to wake me, like I was some sleeping husband she didn't want to disturb. I heard the click of her heels on the hardwood floor, followed by hesitant steps. When she turned the corner and saw me sitting there, she froze. "David, I can explain," she said, her voice soft, careful, like she was talking to someone on the edge. I didn't say anything. I just looked at her. The silence spoke louder than words. She moved closer, pleading, "It's not what you think." I let out a bitter laugh. Hollow, unfamiliar. "You met him with flowers, Claire. You were wearing white." "It's exactly what I think." The argument didn't last long. She cried. I didn't. She blamed everything: stress, distance, work. Anything but herself. When I asked how long it had been going on, she didn't answer. That told me everything. I told her to leave. She didn't, not immediately. She spent the night in the guest room. The next morning, she texted me from the hallway. "Can we talk?" I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and started doing what she never thought I would. I began digging through every app, every email, every backup cloud I could access. I didn't care if it was petty. I needed the truth. And what I found? It was more than I ever imagined. Photos, messages, hotel reservations, voice memos, even Google Maps history. She hadn't just cheated. She had constructed an entire secret life. Trips I thought were business, weekend getaways, nights she claimed to be working late, dinner reservations under fake names. I didn't confront her again, not yet. I let her think I was processing, healing. I went to work, ate dinner in silence, even smiled a couple times. She started trying harder, cooking my favorite meals, watching my shows, asking if I wanted to talk. I nodded and told her I needed space. She mistook my quiet for forgiveness. That was her mistake. I wasn't forgiving her. I was documenting her. I created folders, timelines, and backed up every shred of evidence I could find. I remained in the shadows. Claire thought she had won again. That's what intrigued me most. how effortlessly cheaters slip back into routine, like consequences are just speed bumps in the symphony of their lies. She laughed more now, touched me again with a kind of familiar ease. Her eyes sparkled with the belief the storm had passed. But it hadn't. I was the storm, silent, patient, tightening the circle. Every time she messaged Kyle I saw it. I still had access to her cloud. She hadn't figured it out. Or maybe she had, and assumed I was too broken to keep looking. That's the thing about people like her. They mistake silence for surrender, stillness for indifference. Then the moment came. Not a tip from a friend. Fate itself. Lydia, one of Claire's acquaintances, reached out, said she wasn't comfortable with what she saw. Claire at a hotel bar with Kyle last weekend. Definitely not business. I played dumb. Are you sure it was her? I asked. Lydia sent a photo. There was Claire, her hand on Kyle's knee, drink in the other, wearing the same white dress. I thanked Lydia and promised I wouldn't say anything. She believed me. I waited 3 days, let the guilt stew. Claire tried even harder, planned a weekend getaway. Thanked me for being patient. I smiled and said it sounded nice. That Friday, I told her I was going on a fishing trip with my brother. I packed, left by 7 a.m. She kissed me at the door and told me to be safe. I drove around the block, parked a few streets away, waited. At 9:40 a.m., she left the house, dressed to impress. I followed her, keeping my distance. She headed to the beachside rental district, Kyle's Airbnb, a charming little bungalow with a porch swing. I parked out of sight, waited 20 minutes, then approached. Quietly, I used the spare key I had taken months ago. They were in the kitchen, laughing over coffee, Claire barefoot leaning on the counter, Kyle close, one hand on her waist. When she saw me she gasped. Kyle panicked. I said nothing, just pulled out my phone and played a recording. Her voice. You're the only man who really understands me, Kyle. David is dull, safe. I need more. Then I showed them a still frame from our bedroom camera, Claire on top of him. She dropped her mug. I turned to Kyle. Your wife already knows. His face went white. What? But I was already gone. Claire called my name. I didn't stop. I drove straight home. By the time she returned that night, the house was empty, her clothes in garbage bags on the porch, my wedding ring in a bowl by the door, a letter on the table. We're done. I didn't answer her calls, didn't open her emails. I let silence be my justice. Claire moved in with a friend, then a hotel. Kyle's wife filed for divorce and took the kids. Claire tried to reconnect with him, but he shut her out. He had used her as an escape, nothing more. She was alone now, adrift, no one left to lie to. It didn't end with a bang, just a slow rotting fade. The divorce came through. I kept the house. She got nothing. Claire moved back to her hometown in Arizona, tried to start fresh, but her reputation stuck to her like smoke. Lydia told me Claire lasted only 2 weeks at her new job. No one trusted her. No one believed in second chances for a woman who destroyed a marriage and sold her soul for sparks that burned out before they ever caught flame. Months passed. The days began to bleed into one another, not with sadness, but with stillness, the kind of silence that feels like a clean slate. At first, I kept expecting the pain to come back in waves. I braced for it, but it never did. Not really. What hurt me most had already happened. The worst was knowing that everything I believed about love, loyalty, and partnership had been real. At least on my end. For Claire, it had been a performance. I went back to work, replaced the couch, painted the bedroom. Every little change helped reclaim what was mine, what was never really ours. Her presence faded like smoke from the walls. The photos were boxed up, the memories filed away, not forgotten, but no longer in control. People stopped asking what happened. Friends picked sides quietly. Some reached out, offering drinks or distraction. Others drifted off, unsure of what to say. I didn't blame them. Infidelity makes people uncomfortable, like it's contagious. The house was finally mine, and quiet. I started jogging again, cooking real meals, sleeping better. But there were nights, the quiet ones, where I'd wake up around 3 a.m. to the sound of nothing and still look toward the empty side of the bed, expecting a ghost. Not of Claire, but of the man I used to be, the trusting one, the naive one. He was gone. One Sunday morning, I got an email. It was from Claire. Subject: I'm sorry. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. David, I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I wouldn't either. But I've been doing a lot of thinking, therapy, journaling, trying to understand how I became this version of myself. I betrayed someone who never gave me a reason to doubt them. And I live with that every single day. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even deserve it. But I needed to say the words to you. Clearly, finally. I'm sorry. I was wrong. And I hope someday you find someone who sees the man I never truly appreciated. Take care of yourself, Claire. I didn't respond, not out of spite, not because I was still angry. I just didn't have anything else to say. Some things are better left unanswered. Epilogue. The garden, it's been over a year now. Spring again. The tulips bloom along the side of the house. New ones I planted myself. Not red, never red, white and yellow, peaceful, simple. There's a woman I've started seeing. Her name is Elise. She's kind, steady. We met through mutual friends. She doesn't ask about the past much, and I don't volunteer. What matters is who we're becoming, not who we used to be. Sometimes we sit out back with coffee in hand, just listening to the breeze move through the garden. It's quiet, calm. She leans her head on my shoulder and says, "I love mornings like this." And I smile. Not because I'm trying to hide anything, but because for the first time in a long time, I mean it when I say, me too.
Thank you, my amazing subscribers. Wow, what a journey. If you've made it to the end of this story, I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Your support means everything to me. Every time you watch, like, and comment, you're helping keep this channel alive and growing. And trust me, the best is yet to come. I see all your comments. I feel your love, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Your thoughts and feedback inspire me to create even more powerful stories. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. More shocking twists, emotional journeys, and real-life lessons are on the way, and I don't want you to miss a single one. Together, we're building an incredible community, and I'm so grateful to have you on this journey with me. Stay strong, stay inspired, and remember, sometimes life's greatest lessons come from the most unexpected moments. See you in the next story.